So, chances are, if you've clicked on this video, then you yourself are an aspiring YouTuber, or you're just incredibly curious. Well, either way, welcome along to this video where I run through exactly how I managed to upload a video that has now succumbed 20,000 views. When I uploaded it, I only had 50 subscribers. Hi, my name is Neil Bruce. I normally make content surrounding university advice and a little bit of finance dabbled in there, so if you're interested in that, make sure to stick around and subscribe below. And make sure you stay to the end of this video where I'm going to run through my 3 main tips for small aspiring YouTube content creators. But without further ado, let's get right into this. So I'm not really going to go through exactly how I made the video. If you want me to run through my creative process in whole, then please leave me a comment down below and I will run through that in a future video. But in this video today, I'm just going to run through the nerdy side of things. The thumbnail, the title, the tags and the description, and how I collate all of this information and put it into one of my videos. And one of the saddest realities that you'll come across when making YouTube videos is the fact that it does not matter how good your video is if you haven't put together the best title, the best thumbnail, the best description, and the best tags. And this is no truer than the thumbnail and title themselves. This is the thing that is going to grab your audience and make them want to watch your video over all of the others on the screen. And this is definitely the area that I feel like I've struggled the most, especially thumbnail. But we'll dive into this one here and I'll share exactly with you guys how I managed to come up with this thumbnail and why I think it has performed better than any of my others. So if we head on to the YouTube studio itself on my laptop here and scroll down, then you can see my videos there all having roughly 50 views, some ranging up. And then if you scroll a little bit further down, then suddenly there's one with 20,000. And so obviously that's the one that we're going to dive into here. So this video is essentially just a beginner's guide to studying accountancy at university and what you need to look out for whilst you're there. It's quite similar to my other content, but this one seems to have done a lot better, and I think it's mainly down to the thumbnail. So on here you can see very clear imaging of the 4 main accountancy firms that people might be looking to get into after they study at university. And I think that this strong imaging of KPMG, EY, Deloitte and PwC is really what sets this video apart. I've outlined them in white on a grey background so that they pop out. I've also outlined myself in white and put a little blur to make it seem like it's brighter. And then the main bit is the text at the bottom. I make a call to action in the thumbnail for people who are thinking about studying accounting. Future accounting students, watch this. It couldn't be clearer. It is pinpointing my target audience and telling them what they need to do. So to make this thumbnail, I used an app on my Android phone called Pixel Lab. And I don't even think it's called that anymore. I think it's now called Picture Editor or something. I've now switched over to using an iPhone recently, and I'm still yet to find an app that I prefer to make my thumbnails on. So I'm still kind of going back onto my Android phone and using Pixel Lab. I find it very easy to use. Basically on there you've got all the functions that you might expect on a thumbnail creation app. You can put text onto your photos, you can cut out images, you can mask images. It's very easy to use and I would highly recommend it if you are an Android user. So the next most important part is obviously the title of the video. The title of this video being Studying Accounting and Finance at University in 2022, ? Watch this. It literally could not be simpler for the audience member who's looking to watch it. And one of the most key parts about it is that I've got all of the keywords in the title. So studying is a keyword, accounting and finance is a keyword, university is a keyword, and 2022 is going to be searched as well. Just to describe keywords a little bit for you, essentially what I mean by that is just something that someone would search for. And one little tip, I'm not sure if this still applies, but a little bit of advice that I remember getting when I first started my YouTube channel from a different YouTube channel. So essentially they said to not make your title too many characters more than 60, because then on mobile devices it will cut off the end of your title. So if you keep it within 60 characters, then it will all show on mobile devices. So I've got my title and I've got my thumbnail, And these are very engaging, pulling in the audience. But if no one is going to see the title and thumbnail, then they're not going to be able to click on it. And that is why the tags and description are so important on your video. So like how I said, if you've made the best video ever and the title and thumbnail aren't good, then no one's going to click on it and see the good video. No one's going to be able to find the video in the first place if your tags and description are not up to scratch. So if we have a little look in here, then you might notice something a little odd, which is my tags, and they've got little numbers next to them, and you might be thinking, that's not on YouTube Studio, I've never seen that before. What I've done is downloaded the browser extension called TubeBuddy. Now this is recommended by most YouTube content creators who are making videos to help other YouTube content creators. I think a good few of them are sponsored or they've created it themselves, but I downloaded it because I thought it would be really useful, and it definitely is, especially with the tags. And this is something that I do every single time I'm uploading a video to see if these tags are actually worth making the video about. So let's have a little look and see what I mean. So for example, Finance University Tips, my first tag there. What you do, if you've got TubeBuddy installed on your browser, you can double click and it will come up with a keyword explorer and tell you how good that is as a keyword. Now I've not got the premium version of TubeBuddy. I personally don't think that you need it, but basically what you can see here is that Finance University Tips as a tag has scored excellent on the SEO, and the search volume is ranked as fair, but the competition is very, very good. This means that basically a fair amount of people are searching for this content, but there isn't that much of it. So if you upload a video in that field, then you might be doing well. And if we just click into another one, then we've got Accounting University. Just double click onto that, and again this will come up. It's very good this time. The search volume is very good this time, but there are more videos about Accounting University, therefore it is harder to get noticed in that area. And so these little numbers that are next to all my tags here is basically where this is ranking in search. So basically if you go onto YouTube and search, should I do finance at university, as this tag says, then that will come up at the top. And again, with accounting higher education, #1, accounting at university, #1. And this is why this video has done so well for me, is because it's managed to rank in search. So how do you rank in search? Well, it is a mixture of how good your click-through rate is and how your audience retention is. So on this video, if we head into the analytics section, you can see that this video has 20,400 views. And if we head down here, then you can see key moments for audience retention. The average view duration is 2 minutes and 14 seconds, which is about halfway of the video. But as you can see here, the audience retention in the first 30 seconds is 73%. And this is way higher than most of my videos. That shows that this video is engaging the audience member in the first 30 seconds so that they're not just clicking straight off. And this is one of the keys to making sure that your video does well. And the other is the click-through rate, as I mentioned, which on this video is 6.5%. Now this video, it's kind of skewed because it didn't really get many views at the start. So this is essentially the percentage of people who have seen this video come up on their screen and clicked on it. So 6.5% of people click on this video. So once I get all of my tags, I will then copy them and put them into the description. And then I will literally write paragraphs around these tags to make a sort of story in the description. And this is another great way to get ranked in search, because when people search, it doesn't just come up with results in titles, it comes up with results in their descriptions, and more specifically, the first 200 characters of their description. So, the first 200 characters of this description, I've literally crammed in as many keywords and as many of the best tags from down below with the best scores from TubeBuddy so that they are going to rank in search, and when people search for this content, then this video will come up. So this first paragraph in the description here is roughly 200 characters long, and this is the most important part of the description. The rest is important in a sense that the more body that you put in there, the more words you put in there, the more likely it's going to match up with someone's search. But in general, it is the first 200 characters that are the most important. And if anyone has ever read any of my descriptions on my channel, then you'll know that they are literal gibberish, because I just cram in all the keywords and then write around them. They are absolutely horrible, but you know, the game's the game. So just to emphasize how important YouTube search is when you are a smaller channel, we can have a little look in the right hand side here, which shows my last 48 hours of views on this video, and we can see that 81% of them are still coming from YouTube search, and this is after this video has now been out for over 11 months. Another really interesting thing about this video is that it took over 2 months for it to actually gain any traction. As you can see on the graph here with the views, it really did start off sluggishly. As you can see, after 57 days it had 70 views, but then it just suddenly took off and kept taking off. So that brings me perfectly on to my 3 tips for you new content creators out there. And as I just mentioned there, it does take a long time to kick off. So for example, that video there took 60 days for it to start gaining traction. That was my 37th video that I had uploaded. Each of these taking between 4 and 5 hours to edit and create. It isn't a particularly short process, so it is incredibly hard work. And what I would recommend is that when uploading each of your videos, just make sure you're trying to improve on one thing each time. Don't make it too hard on yourself and try and improve everything at once. That kind of gives you too much of a workload. But if you just focus on one thing, whether it be your thumbnail, your lighting, your camera presence, anything, if you're just improving one thing every single video, by the time you've made 50 videos, then your videos will be good. My second tip is that you can't really use views as a metric of success when you're first starting out on YouTube. Because as I said earlier, you might make the best video of all time, but you are not very good at making tags, or you're not very good at your thumbnail yet. So the views metric isn't very good when you're starting out. Your quality of your videos might be increasing and your views might be decreasing, and this can be really demotivating. But what you need to remember is that as long as your content is getting better, when you do get better at making thumbnails and descriptions and all of this stuff, then your videos will take off because you're already making good content. Just make sure that when you're self-analyzing your content, you're not being too hard on yourself, because that's not going to help anyone, but also you're taking the perspective of the viewer and what the viewer wants to see. And my third tip, and probably the most important one, is that you need to get good before buying good when it comes to your setup and your lighting and all of this stuff. And that's not me saying that I am good, I just happened to get a job and now I'm kind of investing back into my content. The video that we've been talking about today, I literally bought a £7 tripod off of Amazon and an £8 mic off of Amazon. Those were my 2 purchases that I made, and that was it. And I made a video that has 20,000 views. So you don't necessarily have to have the best equipment to get the views. It's just all about making sure that your content is as good as it can be, presented in the best way it can be, and the people will come and the people will watch. So that kind of wraps everything up today. I hope you've had a great time watching this video, and if you have, make sure to subscribe down below, like the video, leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will see you back here next Monday at 6 PM. Have a great week, guys.